Bill Gates is now backing something called sun dimming technology that would reflect sunlight out of the Earth's atmosphere, causing global cooling. Ooh, that's not fraught with risks. You thought gain-of-function research on pathogens was dangerous. Try that. But that doesn't stop Harvard University. Its scientists are testing that technology by spewing calcium carbonate dust into the atmosphere.
Welcome, family, to another edition of Stranger Thinking Media. This is Yeshayahu, where we bring you the gospel of Yahusha HaMashiach, Jesus the Christ, to address the problems of a modern world. And today's topic, Snowpiercer, Bab-El, Gates of God, Part 4. Let's block the sun. Revelation 18, and the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her shall bewail her and lament for her when they shall see the smoke of her burning, standing afar off for fear of her torment, saying, Alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come, and the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buyeth their merchandise anymore.
Well, sir, you've certainly vanquished all your enemies, the elementary school, the local tavern, the old age home. You must be very proud.
No, not while my greatest nemesis still provides our customers with free light, heat, and energy. I call this enemy the sun. Since the beginning of time, man has yearned to destroy the sun. I will do the next best thing. Block it out.
Good God.
Imagine it, Smithers. Electrical lights and heaters running all day long.
But, sir, every plant and tree will die. Owls will deafen us with incessant hooting. The town sundial will be useless. I don't want any part of this project. It's unconscionably fiendish.
I will not suffer your insubordination. There has been a shocking decline in the quality and quantity of your toadying, Whalen, and you will fall into line. Now!
No. No, Monty, I won't. Not until you step back from the brink of insanity.
I'll do no such thing. You're fired. Take that Boulderama. Take that Convenient Smart. Take that nuclear power plant. Oh, fiddlesticks.
Isaiah 13, chapter 13, verse 10. For the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give their light. The sun shall be darkened in his going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine. Joel 3, and verse 15. The sun and the moon shall be darkened, and the stars shall withdraw their shining. And this is kind of a real thing. I know it sounds like science fiction, but they have been literally trying to figure out ways to block the infrared radiation from the sun, basically. And simply put, to cool the planet down, to mitigate global warming. I mean, just, common sense, basic stuff, right? But we as human beings, we run off on a tangent and we think, we solved one problem, but how many problems did we create in the wake of solving that one problem? And I guess the question would be at that point, maybe all of a sudden our crops, they probably won't stop growing, but If any of you have a garden, a little house garden, or a little backyard garden, you know that your plants are going to grow, obviously, with the more sunlight you get, right? So if you were to accomplish this, how would that affect our food supply? And does anybody care? Because if the food supply is affected, then whoever controls the food supply now could charge a premium. I mean, it could get really crazy. And I don't think we really think of it in those terms. But literally, when a scarcity is created, what happens to the value of that item? It increases in value. And if you're a businessman, what happens if you control that item? You can now charge whatever you want. And so we need to be thinking about these things, not just, sitting back in our easy chairs and thinking, they know what they're doing. Well, they may know what they're doing in the short run, but do they know what they're doing in the long run? Time will tell.
War made the earth even hotter. Her ice melted, and all her species crashed. So the men of science tried to cool the earth, to reverse the damage they had sown. But instead, they froze her to the core.
How would you combat climate change? If the answer is shoot an aerosol into the sky to dim out the sun's rays, then you've probably seen Snowpiercer. Or you're Bill Gates. I've gone down a very strange rabbit hole. Welcome back to Technality. I'm your host, Jacqueline Swan, and I'm not here to terrify you per se, but I'm also not here to calm your existential dread, mainly because I'm filled with it. Anyways, Bill Gates wants to dim the sun, or that's what the headlines say anyways.
Our arrows will blot out the sun.
Recently, an article by Forbes came across my newsfeed called Solar Geoengineering, Why Bill Gates Wants It, but These Experts Want to Stop It. And that's not a title I can pass up because it has all the hallmarks of a conspiracy theory that I will have to debunk at a Christmas family dinner. So I read the article, checked out the scientific paper, and looked into the people behind it, and it turns out Bill Gates supports researching hypothetical technology that would theoretically block out the sun's rays, or at least dim them. And that's what solar geoengineering is, which is dimming the sun's rays to slow down the progress of climate change. An example of this is a volcano exploding and blanketing the sky in ash, essentially dimming out the sun and changing the climate below. In a TED Talk, Gates explained his stance on why he believes humanity should look into this technology. For Gates, he sees it as an insurance policy. If Earth ever hits that breaking point, that tipping point where humanity needs to use this technology, they have it. And it theoretically can buy humanity an extra 20 to 30 years to deal, or at the very least cope, with the effects of climate change.
So that's scary. Again, you solve one problem and you create about 50 more problems. I mean, you block out the sun's rays. I don't know if people know about this, but like in places on the globe where there's little sunlight, I'm picking an area like Iceland. There's a high occurrence of osteoporosis in those Nordic countries just from the lack of sunlight. And that's just geographical. That's because, they go through periods of very short days and very long nights, and the massive effects that has on the population, it's incredible, so your bones need sunlight to strengthen and harden. And of course, your blood is produced inside your bone marrow. I mean, there's a lot of effects just with that. So we better know what we're doing. And again, do we get a vote in any of this, or do they just do it? That's the scary part. So Matthew chapter 24, verse 29. Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four corners or four winds, from one end of the heaven to the other. So it's attaching this phenomenon to something that occurs just after the tribulation. Now, I guess, I've read this scripture a million times, and you go, oh, so Yah is going to do something to the celestial bodies. Something's going to occur. It never occurred to me that it might be something man-made. And then it backfires on us, of course. And then, like he says, he has to return, before, things are going to get to a point where if he did not return, all flesh would be destroyed. So he comes back in a time where he has to, whether it be war, nuclear war, biological, chemical, blotting out the sun. Now people start starving, and you think about the four horsemen of the apocalypse, and, death, starvation, pestilence, war, all these things. And it occurs to me that these are all quite possibly man-made things, but they're talked about in these scriptures as if they're, almost like miracles, which technically they are. But what it is the Most High is allowing us to climb up the tree of knowledge, technology, the tree of technology, right? To make a point. There's a reason why he told Adam and Eve not to eat from the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, right? He knew what would be the end result. Literally, that one little misstep. Think about how benign it was. Oh, I ate a fruit off a tree, right? But what did that? It's almost like the butterfly effect. You kill one mosquito, but then a million years later, because you killed that one mosquito, all the dinosaurs died or whatever. And then because they all died, then the mammals had nothing to eat, and they all died, and so the earth is a barren wasteland or something. So it's kind of like that. So because we did that one little thing, it set us off on a tangent. Like you aim a laser beam at the moon and you hit it dead center, right? But what if you're off by 1/1000th of a centimeter or millimeter at the start? By the time that laser beam gets to the moon, it's missed it by 100,000 miles. I'm kind of making those numbers up, but you get the picture. If you start out a little off, 10,000 years later or 10,000 miles later, you're way off, So that's what this is kind of like. So here we go, traveling down that path again. We're so smart. And there were times where I would be, nervous. I'd be up in arms. I'm telling you, I've changed. I look at these things, and it's almost like, well, good. Go ahead and do it. Because I know what comes next. That's kind of how I'm feeling now. Instead of getting all upset and scared and I kind of don't anymore. I kind of, there's a certain peace for the believer. I mean, a true believer in what this stuff is saying. As it gets fulfilled, you almost are at more peace because you see it coming. Yes, there's a great tribulation. Yes, there's probably nuclear war. Yes, there's all sorts of things going on. But it's a woman in travail. When she's going through that the labor pains, it's horrific, right? But then a man child is born, and everybody cheers, right? There's great joy. So it's kind of what I see happening. The Ashatans, the Satans, they basically are driving their minions who sit atop this Babylonian power structure, this system, and are putting things into their minds to do. Things that are just, if I thought to do these things, me personally, it would be because I am purposely trying to destroy everything. I mean, how can you keep messing with the natural order? And are you that smart? Are you so smart that you know all the side effects of whatever you're about to do? Or don't you care? Maybe you don't care. I don't know. But like I say, I don't get upset. I don't get scared. I don't get nervous. I look at it and say, oh, maybe that's what it means. Maybe the sun being darkened is us doing it, And so I don't know what else to say. Fear not, because these are just signs of the second coming. All this madness is just signs. And you just glory in it. Just say hallelujah. Revelation 18 and chapter 1. And after these things, I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. For her sins have reached unto heaven, and God hath remembered her iniquities. Reward her, even as she rewarded you, and double unto her, double according to her works. That's a scary prophecy right there. In Revelation 18, in chapter 7, how much she hath glorified herself and lived deliciously, so much torment and sorrow give her. For she saith in her heart, I sit a queen, and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow. Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire. For strong is Yahweh Elohim who judges her. Well, farewell, family. I love you all so much, and thank you so much for continually supporting my content. If you did enjoy this video, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. And share this with your friends and family. I'm sure they'd find it interesting as well. I'm very excited to continue this journey with you. I thank you all for bringing certain stories to my attention and for continually keeping me updated with certain events around the world. I very much appreciate you all, and shout out to the channel members. Thank you so much. And may everybody have a blessed and beautiful day who's in the body of Messiah, Yahushua HaMashiach, Jesus Christ of Nazareth. And I'll see you all on the next video. Shalom.